असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Lead us from unreality of transitory existence to the reality of eternal self. Lead us from darkness of ignorance to the knowledge of spiritual light. Lead us from fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of NRCV, I extend a warm welcome to all of you. I request the speakers to kindly take their seats on the dais. Ma'am, please. I request Harsh Parik to kindly present a token of our gratitude to Pravrajika Divyanandaprana. Now I request Dr. Parag Singla to kindly present a token of gratitude to Mr. Sankar Sen. Swami Vivekananda once said, "We are what our thoughts have made us. So take care what you think. Words are secondary. Thoughts live, they travel far." Vivekananda Study Circle has been formed with the noble aim to provide a platform to the entire IIT Delhi community where such elevating thoughts can be discussed, worked upon, and implemented in our daily lives. I request Sangeeta Kohli ma'am to kindly elaborate about Vivekananda Study Circle and its activities. Ma'am, please.
Good evening, friends. I'm really happy today that NRCV, many of you may not know what NRCV stands for. It's an academic center at IIT, which is named as National Resource Center for Value Education and Engineering, which was set up in 2001. So I'm really happy that NRCV has taken another step forward today by actually formally starting a Vivekananda Study Circle. It actually gives me all the more pleasure because when we think about the genesis of this center, it actually dates back to the late 70s with the readings of Swami Vivekananda's lectures, Swami Vivekananda's complete works, by a few of our faculty members. I still don't see Professor Gaur sitting here. Professor P.L. Dhar and Professor R.R. Gaur, two faculty members from mechanical engineering, way back in 70s, decided to search for answers to some of the difficult questions that they were facing. I see Professor Gaur now. They started reading Vivekananda's complete works every day during their lunch hour. And joined by them were two more colleagues of theirs, Professor Agarwal, R.S. Agarwal, and Professor T.P. Agarwal. And very soon, and this continued for more than a year, and very soon, their quest led them in contact with Professor D.S. Kothari, who was the Chancellor of JNU at that time. Some of you might be aware of the famous Kothari Commission. And it was under the guidance of Professor Kothari that Professor Dhar and Professor Gaur started a course called Science in Humanism Towards a Unified Worldview. And this course actually brought the ideas that we are actually talking about today related to Vivekananda Study Circle. They brought these ideas to the curriculum of IIT Delhi, which was such a big step forward. It was not an easy task, but this continued for 30 years, almost 30 years. And finally, the culmination of their efforts was seen in the form of setting up of the center called National Resource Center for Value Education Engineering by MHRD in 2001. In fact, even before NRCV started, ever since we have had faculty members who have been searching for answers to various questions. IIT Delhi has always seen various activities, various lectures of this kind being organized. And when NRCV was set up, we have very frequently organized various talks by eminent people who have been spiritually highly established. But we decided that it'll be nice to start a Vivekananda study circle exclusively to handle these, to organize such events, primarily because NRCV is an academic center. And it has varieties of activities that it takes care of. So the moment we are able to identify certain activities with the name of Vivekananda, there is a certain amount of energy that gets generated with the name of Vivekananda. And at the same time, the concept of study circle is also a very beautiful one, which generates its own collective energy. And so we hope that if we organize these activities under the ambit of Vivekananda Study Circle, we will have much more participation from people from all walks of life, because Vivekananda's name brings together people cutting across all boundaries. So I'm seeing youngsters as well as people with gray hair. So that is the power of Vivekananda. And we do hope that under the able coordinatorship of Dr. Kushal Shah, not just able, but extremely enthusiastic coordinatorship of Dr. Kushal Shah, we will see many more programs and a lot of participation from all of you, and particularly students, because it's the students who have to take these thoughts forward. Before I hand over the mic, I would like to dedicate the Vivekananda Study Circle to the efforts of all those visionaries and stalwarts with due to whose incessant efforts we are able to actually proudly say that the spiritual discussions in IIT Delhi are not anything new. It's not something new that we are starting. We are only giving it a new name. And I do hope and wish that all of you will join me in listening to the speakers here and also making the Vivekananda Study Circle a very successful venture in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the introduction. Our first speaker for the evening is Pravrajika Divyanandaprana. She's a monastic member of Sri Sarada Mission and Ramakrishna Sarada Mission, which is the women's wing of the worldwide Ramakrishna Order. She is currently the principal of Nivedita Vidya Mandir, the school run by Ramakrishna Sarada Mission in New Delhi. With a background in science, she has conducted several workshops on the synthesis between science and spirituality. She has also addressed value education seminars in India and abroad. Now, I would like to request Pravrajika Divyanandaprana to kindly enlighten us with her thoughts on the practical importance of spirituality. Please.
I start? Respected Mr. Sankar Sen, dignitaries, guests, faculty, and dear students. It is indeed a matter of great joy to be with you this evening at the inauguration of the Vivekananda Study Circle in IIT Delhi. It's a matter of special pride for us because you see, you have justified in some measure the faith which Vivekananda had in young people, which is a rare thing. He had the greatest faith in the younger generation. He used to say, out of them will come my lions who will work out the whole problem, the problems facing India by themselves. So in some measure, by showing this interest in studying Vivekananda, you have justified his faith in you. Also, there's a deep link between intellectual brilliance, which characterizes IITs, and spirituality. I would like to point out that link here. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is spoken, spiritual truth is spoken of as buddhi grahyam but atindriyam. It is beyond the senses, beyond the reach of the senses, but it is available to the refined, sensitive, subtle, sharp intellect. It is available to that. So you have an added advantage. Understand that. And with the interest you are showing in studying Vivekananda, if you can combine these two effectively, your intellectual brilliance along with a spiritual worldview, you can bring the whole world to your feet. Let me now start today's topic, which I have been given, that is practical importance of spirituality, by taking an example from the history of science itself. You see, the incident which I am going to tell you happened in the 1820s, almost 200 years back. That was the age before anesthesia was discovered. So all over Europe, any kind of surgery was a horror. And so many chemists and people were experimenting with different gases and all that in trying to find out anesthetics. But many of them failed, some of them were experimenting. One such person was Henry Hickman. What he did was, he found out that carbon dioxide gas itself has properties of being an anesthetic. He would suffocate animals with carbon dioxide, and when they became unconscious, he would try to sever a limb or damage a tissue and see if the animal felt the pain. Then he would record his research, and in this way he created a big paper called Letter on Suspended Animation, Utility in Surgical Operations, and he sent this paper to the Royal Society in London. But he was severely criticized. He suffered a rebuff. And the Royal Society called it a surgical humbug because they said that how can one have suspended animation? It's not possible. But you see, today, can we imagine an operation without anesthesia? And today he is called the father of anesthesia. So you see, what is very applicable, what has great utility, it may not be very apparent in the beginning, but it can have very far-reaching effects. Another famous example is your Michael Faraday. In the 1830s, when he discovered electromagnetic radiation, he was very excited with his new find. He also sent his research paper to the Royal Society of London. That was also rejected. And the president of the Royal Society, the then president, he in fact asked him, but sir, what is the utility of all this? What is the utility of electricity, he's asking. And Faraday said, he countered his question. He asked, sir, what is the utility of a newborn baby? Is there any utility? No utility. But infinite potential lies in that baby. If you ask me what is the utility of spirituality, I will tell you the same thing. Apparently, you may not find some utility just now, but it will tap your own infinite potential. It will bring out the excellence within you. It will awaken your hidden energies. It will invigorate your personality. It will help you focus your mind on what you want to achieve. It will help you develop a great character. This is the mighty utilitarian usage of a spiritual viewpoint, a spiritual worldview. And with Vivekananda's support, with Vivekananda's definition, you will see spirituality is actually the tonic of the masses. When Karl Marx was asked to define religion, you know what he said? He said religion is the opium of the masses. But opium, you see, it addicts and it degrades. But with Vivekananda's definition, you will see spirituality actually has been defined as to serve as a tonic. What does a tonic do? It strengthens you. It will create an appetite in you for higher things. And it acts as an energy booster. Let me give you Vivekananda's definition of spirituality. You see, it is so unique. He says, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest, to bring out that divinity already within you. Do this either by work, worship, psychic control, philosophy, by scientific research, by one or all of these, and reach the goal. This is the whole of religion. And doctrines, dogmas, books, temples, churches, bells, they are all secondary details. They are all secondary details. So don't fight over the secondary details. Go to the heart of the question. You will find spirituality is the heart of religion. It cuts across everything. So with this kind of definition, you will see spirituality is indeed a tonic which will strengthen every aspect of your personality. Spirituality is an energy booster. It will increase your energies. It will release the hidden energies in your mind. We will discuss how it does that. And then spirituality is a great appetizer. It will create an appetite for higher values in life. Create an appetite for higher fulfillment in life. So with Vivekananda's definition, we cannot miss the mark. Now, let me give you an example from everyday life to show how this definition which Vivekananda has given us actually works. You see, this is a true story. A 15-year-old boy was reading Vivekananda for the first time. And when he took up the book, he could not leave it until 1 a.m. So he studied him deeply, and then he writes in his biography, with this study, I was thrilled to the very marrow of my bones. This boy grew up, went to England, completed his ICS there. You see, in pre-independent India, the ICS degree was very important. He did that degree in England, but refused to work under foreign government. He came back to India. You will know whom I'm talking about. He came back here, and then he plunged into the freedom struggle. He was the first person who created a national army, the Azad Hind Fauj, within pre-independent India. So yes, I'm talking about Subhash Chandra Bose. And he became one of the greatest freedom fighters of India. He writes in his biography, it is so beautifully put. He says, I go into raptures when I think of Vivekananda. I cannot but go into raptures. That is the Vivekananda effect on young minds. If you study Swamiji deeply, all your deeper questions about life and reality will be answered. Another example closer to us in history is another young man. You can tell me his name also. You see, this young man had joined the army, but due to some circumstances at home, he contemplated suicide. And then in this New Delhi railway station, he came across a book by Vivekananda called Call to the Youth for Nation Building. As he flipped through the pages, the words seeped into his consciousness. They gave him strength. They gave him meaning in life. They gave him purpose. He abandoned the idea of suicide and immediately decided to dedicate his life to the service of others. He created a unique model village in his home state of Maharashtra, but we know him best as the greatest champion of the anti-corruption movement in India, Anna Hazare. So you see, this is the Vivekananda effect. No matter where you are placed, what you are doing, what the circumstances in your life are, you can always better your life, better your mind by reading Vivekananda. And Vivekananda wanted spirituality to come into the life of everyone. It should not be restricted to mountain caves. It is not meant merely for forest monasteries. He wanted it to come into the practical life of our people. And that is why he said, you know what he said? It's so different from what others have said. He said, a student who thinks he is the Atman will be a better student. An engineer who thinks he is the Atman will be a better engineer. You see, the Atman is the spiritual core of your own personality. It is not an objective reality outside you. The import of the I which you are using is called the Atman. Now, how is it, you may ask, how is it that if I think I am the Atman, automatically I become a better engineer? You see, it is like this. When you think you are only the body and mind, then all your energies go at conserving, preserving only that bit of your personality. But when you think of yourself as being the spirit animating the body, animating the mind, functioning through the body-mind complex, then they become your instruments. So you are in command of them. You take charge of your life. You take the reins of your life in your own hands. You become responsible. And when you become responsible, you truly develop. This is how a spiritual viewpoint, it actually converts you, it transforms you. And this development is itself a great adventure. We all love adventures, you see, they add zest to life. This is an adventure into our own subjective consciousness. You see, I want, in the VSc classes we will be discussing this. This point should be very clear in us. Most of you are students of quantum physics here, so let me draw the example from there. You have all heard of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. And you know about the observer effect. Observer consciousness plays a major role in any act of perception. And there's a recent release by Stephen Hawking, in which he says that the world, the perceptions we have are not totally real because we can't get rid of the observer in us, and all that we are seeing is through the interpretative lens of the human brain. So he's hinting at the importance of subjective consciousness. Now, how to research into this?